Roger Bracewell, and I am Chairman of GA Petfood Partners.
We actually are here at Plox Farm, GA's manufacturing centre of excellence. From the sourcing of our raw materials to how we store them, how we look after them, how we cook them, it's all part of our fresh extrusion journey. Even before it comes into us, we start there. That's where the quality starts. It starts with sourcing the right materials and then looking after them properly. But this is where we are. As you can see, it's a very big site. At one time, this was all farmland. What I'll show you through the rest of the tour is how we source that and how we look after it to make it deliver the world's finest.
We were farmers, or still are farmers, in Bretherton in Lancashire, England, and in 1992 it was a time of great grain mountains, and Europe was building these enormous mountains of wheat which we were growing, and the government at the time said you cannot continue to pay farmers and you must diversify. We took some of the wheat that we were growing and we poured it into a small machine, and as we poured the wheat in at the top, out through this machine came some meal. And this meal, amazingly, somebody would pay us a little bit more for the meal than they would the wheat, which was a good thing. And so from those small beginnings, the business has grown.
But yeah, originally, this was the original farmhouse, so when all of this was just one big farm, a normal farm going mixed arable stocks, this was the original farmhouse.
So at the time, my father and I were in partnership. So my father came here in 1950 and took the farm. As well as being a farmer, he was also a land manager. I joined him in 1980 as a partner in the business, where we were farming and also helping and advising farmers to how they can better run their particular properties. On the farm which we were farming, we diversified as we've just discussed, and that side of the business continued to grow.
So here we are in our ingredients room, and what I wanted to talk about now just for a moment is how important it is to start with the right ingredients. I think anyone who cooks anything knows that if you use the finest ingredients, you will end up with a better end product. So a really big part of our fresh extrusion journey is working with those farms and fisheries that we know and trust. So we've worked with our suppliers for many years in lots of instances.
In the early days, we were making very simple components. It was very much in the early days of what we now refer to as muesli mixes. Which were then mixed with other micronized maize, micronized peas to make as you know, muesli, and they used to feed those to pets.
So what's really important about the fresh extrusion journey is that it starts right at the beginning with the farms and fisheries that we know and trust. It means sourcing the very best raw materials that we can to make and deliver the world's finest.
I think initially it started very much in the UK, but it was in the early days of dry extruded products, and they weren't readily available in other countries. And we found that there were open markets, both initially in Europe, and then from Europe that spread to, particularly for us in terms of Japan, where we were able to export our products to New Zealand, to Australia. We have been able to export to those markets, and they've been good markets for us. They want something special, they want something unique, they want something different, and we were able to offer those particular products that were at the premium end of the market. It was a matter of satisfying those demands for people from those countries to come to us for us to be able to produce those products.
All control from in here. Mix it up. Control room. This is the control room, and what you have is everything that we're going to go on to see in the rest of the building. So in our ballroom and in our larder and in our pantry and all these other locations is all controlled from in here. There's only 2 people on a shift, and they look after all of these screens. And what they're doing is they're controlling all the other operations that go on in this building. Everything is automated as we go deeper into the building, but it's all controlled from in here.
One of GA's mottos is a land of opportunity. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
People can notice a diverse team. What does it mean to GA to hire people from different cultures? And what do you think this diversity brings to your company?
I personally don't see them as different cultures. And I don't see them as different from different nations. They have one thing in common, is that they're willing to try their very best and to deliver on their very best. And it's that work ethic that unifies those cultures. So they're not different, they are common. We have one purpose, and we are here to do the best for ourselves and the best for our customers that we call partners. And that is the unifying element. So there isn't diversity. They may have come from different lands and then joined us here in Brotherton, but we see them as one family and one for here for one purpose.
Corporate social responsibility. We have got a commitment to net zero. So we've made an environmental pledge to reduce our carbon emissions by 50%, and that's every decade over the next 30 years, and that's to reach net zero, so that 2050 net zero target. We need to use renewable and carbon-free energy sources to continue to reduce our environmental impact and to provide a truly sustainable solution for our customers and obviously for ourselves. A really big part of that is a really large scale project that we've got that's ongoing. This will take a number of years.
During the tour, we learned that there were past concerns from local community about coming from the facility, right? GA addressed this by implementing several solutions, enhancing waste recycling system, installing beehives, and even contributing a portion of clean energy back to the community. Why are these initiatives important?
Those initiatives really are working with all the people, and not only the people that work within the business, not only our suppliers and our partners, but also our community, because the community are the ones that allow us to operate. With their acquiescence, with their consent, we are able to operate as a business which has an impact on them. And if they appreciate through the way and our approach to our community and things that we can put back into the community, that allows us both to sustain as to what we're doing. So it comes back to that original point that you're making in terms of sustainability. It has to be collective, it has to be inclusive, and it has to include, as we call it, all stakeholders, so that we can sustain ourselves and sustain the business in our local environment. So if we can stop the smell, we can stop the noise, we can offer employment, and we can bring benefits to the people around us, that will sustain us in the long term. That's why
Why is it called GA Pet Food?
certainly. GA comes from Golden Acres. So the business initially, my father came up with this idea, Golden Acres. He thought that was a nice name. and we operated in the Golden Acres for 20 years. So our late Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, she awarded this to us as a business that have exported. So it's a Queen's Award for export. So GA was very privileged. We went down to London and we collected the award from her.